it's always tough down there with the Jets, and sure will be again this time. Last 5 times they've gone down there, it's just they've all been hard-fought games, close games. And Jets do a good job, very good in all 3 phases of the game. It's a team that's really, I'd say, improved in all areas, certainly in the kicking game with the return game with Roberts and Ed Myers. He's had a really good year for him. Offensively, it's an explosive group. A lot of big plays in the running game, big plays, receivers, guys really good with the ball in their hands, hard to tackle. And defensively, they're always tough. But once again, lead the league in, third down, third and short, top of the league in the red area, 3-and-out drives. A lot of stats. They hard to move the ball against, and do a good job in the red area, so they don't give up a lot of points. And strong front, pursues well, do a good job taking the ball away, especially if you're not careful with it. So they do a good job in every area, and be ready to play good down there on the road. So hopefully we can have a good week and be ready to do that.
This is potentially your first crack at Sam Darnold. Wondering what you thought of him to this point in his rookie season.
Yeah, big, strong guy. He's got a good arm. Make all the throws. A lot of talent.
Bill, when a team, obviously, their last game against Buffalo had the loss that they did, you kind of maybe expect to get their best game because they're going to.
Yeah, we'll get it. I'm sure we'll get it. Yes.
Bill, what would you say the week of preparation is like when you go into a game and you're not sure which quarterback the other team's going to be playing?
Look, every week we're one play away from playing the other quarterback, whoever the starter is, so we have to be ready for both guys. It's the way it is every week.
So how significant do you see the difference between these guys? Thinking like the Ravens, like you might, not that you're thinking about them this week, but you go from like a Flacco to a Lamar Jackson, that would seem fairly extreme. How about these two guys?
Yeah. Well, they're both good. Maybe we played against McCown last year. He did a really good job against us down there. Obviously, Darnold, this is an explosive team. They've had 3 games where have a lot of points, 30s, 40s. So they can move the ball. They can score points.
What do you see from Jamal Adams, and what does he do for their secondary?
It's a real aggressive safety. They blitz him a lot. He's really active in the running game. Aggressive quarterback.
Do those two safeties, May and Adams, are they used interchangeably in some ways, or are they pretty distinct roles in that?
Yeah, they're as different as you can get.
Will they try to use those guys in terms of pressuring the quarterback? Even I know it looks like, according to some of the numbers, that maybe they're like a month.
Yeah, Adams is like a linebacker. He's around the line of scrimmage a lot. He blitzes, he runs through. He's aggressive. He's got tackles for losses, sacks, pressures. So he's down there around the line a lot, or sometimes he's kind of roaming free in the middle. But he's a contact player. He's aggressive.
Because of his size, his speed, is a new or just a tough matchup wherever they put him on the field?
Yeah, it sure is. And he's really tough with the ball in his hands. He's a strong runner. Runs through a lot of tackles. Good balance. Hard guy to bring down. He's a hard guy to match up on. It's hard to find guys that are 225 pounds that are as fast and strong as he is. So yeah, he's tough. Good blocker. A physical player.
Is he more like a running back when he gets the ball in his hand?
He can run with it. He's strong, he's fast, he's tough, he's got good balance, so he's a good runner. Call him whatever you want. It's hard to tackle.
He's brought back the number since you had him before. Do you have a better sense maybe of how you'll use him than the player that you haven't had him?
Yeah, we'll see. See how it goes this week. See if he's active and what his role will be. I don't know.
Some of the things that have allowed McCown to have such a long career.
He's a good player, smart, really handles himself well. He's always had a lot of responsibility at the line of scrimmage, audible plays, change protections, things like that. I think he sees the defense well. Certainly knows what they're doing. He's got a good arm. He's got good size, athletic. Can avoid the rush. Make plays out of the pocket. So he's just got a good skill set. He's smart. He works hard. He's always well prepared. He's a very professional guy, team-oriented guy. I think he fits in well with his teammates, coaching staff. Everybody that's been with him seems to have a lot of respect for the way he carries himself and the way he prepares and all that. I mean, I've never personally coached him, but that's all I've ever heard about him.
Bill, how challenging does it make it to prepare when, for them defensively, it looks like they bring numbers after the quarterback at a relatively high rate, but it seems like teams, when they play you guys, tend not to do that as much. So do you have to expect for them to do something then different from what they've done for the majority of the season in some way?
Well, I mean, we'll prepare for them. We've played these guys several times with this coaching staff, many of these players, so we'll prepare for what we think they're going to do. If they do something different, they do something different, we'll have to adjust to it. If we do something different, they'll have to adjust to it. I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, we know them pretty well. They know us well. So it could be a game where there is something new in there. Or it could be not so much of that kind of game. I don't know.
Bill, they always had good, solid linebacker play. How good is this group that you're facing?
They're fast. Yeah. Williamson, Lee, fast. Pierre Lewis, they use in there a little bit too. He's fast. I mean, all those guys can run well. So they give him good range and pass coverage and perimeter plays, and then they get to a lot of plays outside. It's hard to outrun these guys.
Their blitz packages, would you say it's more about disguising them, or do they just bring a lot of guys and make it difficult to block that way?
I mean, they blitz. Every play's not a blitz. So sometimes they bring them, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they disguise it, sometimes they don't. They do a good mix. Man zone, 5-man pressure, a little bit of 6-man pressure, some blitz zone, some blitz man. But that's what they've done. That's what Todd's done. When it was at Arizona, that's what he's done, you know, for the past few years. I mean, they don't blitz on every play. I mean, maybe they will this week. I don't know, but that's, you know, they do a good job of mixing it up. Split safety coverage, post safety coverage. Been using fewer defensive backs than they have in the past, but maybe that'll change. I don't know.
Bill, is it beneficial, off of what Evan said, is it beneficial having had the Tennessee game? They showed a lot of blitz packages, so you could see how your team responds to those. Is that helpful going into the Jets game?
We're playing the Jets here. We're not playing Tennessee, so we'll have to deal with what the Jets do, what their keys are, and who their players are. Whatever else has happened this year has happened. We've corrected those, talked about those situations, corrected them, but we're focused on the Jets now.
Gronk has admitted at times that physically, and obviously he's missed some games, but even when he was out there, that he was limited to a certain degree or didn't feel like himself. But when you watch the tape, is he still influencing defenses in the way that maybe he did prior to?
Prior to what?
Prior to not feeling good.
I mean, I'm not really sure exactly what we're talking about here. I mean, there's plenty of games this year where he gets a lot of double coverage. I mean, they don't double him on every play. They don't double anybody on every play. Nobody gets doubled on every play that I've seen. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know. You'd have to ask him about that.
Change spacing when he's out in the field for you guys? In terms of the way opposing
I mean, he's a good player. It's obvious, so it helps to have him out on the field. He's just one of our best players. So, of course, it helps us when he's out there.
Would you describe them as a game plan team on both sides or one?
The Jets?
Yes.
Well, definitely in the kicking game, there's an element to that. Defensively, I would say there's an element to it. Offensively, yeah, there's an element to it. I mean, they do a lot of the things they do offensively, but might change the formations around a little bit. Wouldn't say it's necessarily a whole new group of plays, but the look or the formations are complement each other.
Bill, when Tom's making his decisions, do you get the sense, as much as he can possibly, that he tries to protect his pass catchers? That he tries to make sure he's not throwing them into dangerous situations?
Of course, that's what every quarterback does.
Well, maybe some quarterbacks are not as good as others
Well,
at doing it.
if they do it, it's by mistake. They don't intentionally do it. Yeah, I mean, that's what defenses try to do, is to get offenses to throw to receivers that are going into free defenders, and offenses try to run patterns that avoid that and throw the ball so that doesn't happen. I mean, that's about as fundamental as it gets.
Maybe I'm thinking, maybe we're saying the same thing, but I'm thinking maybe like physical danger, like a situation where...
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Okay.
Like, no quarterback's going to lead a receiver into a guy who's standing right there ready to blow at the receiver. I mean, that's ridiculous. Intentionally, I might not see the guy, or the guy could come from somewhere, come off another player, and again, that's what defenses try to do, is sometimes disguise where the help's coming from so the quarterback doesn't see it and throws to a guy like that. And that's what football is. Defenses try to create those problems for the offense. Offense tries to create problems for the defense. Yeah, I mean, why would you throw the ball into a defender that's standing right there waiting for you? There's no play designed to do that. None.
The explosive plays have been something that have been talked about quite a bit last handful of years, talking about some of the league's best offenses. And so I'm curious how you view explosive plays. Do you feel like they're necessary for a good offense, or is moving the ball down the field on a number of snaps?
Yeah, it's one or the other. They can both be effective. It's nice to have explosive plays. Defensively, you try to prevent them, but if they keep moving the ball, even though it's not explosive plays, and you don't stop them, that's not any good. If you make big plays and score, that's good. If you drive it down the field and don't make big plays, that's good too. So just force you to be a little more efficient, maybe. I mean, it's hard to count on, 3 or 4 80-yard touchdowns every week. I mean, it's just in this league, that's just, I wouldn't say, you could really plan on that every week. So if you get them, great. If you don't, then defensively, if you give them up, it's probably not going to be a good day. If you do, then you're going to have to make some plays on third down in the red area, or they're going to drive it on you and score that way.
Speaking of explosive plays, did you get a chance at all to peek at last night's game between two explosive offenses and see what?
I saw a little bit of it, yeah. The Jets. That's my takeaway. Getting ready for the Jets.
Is it hard ever for an offense to balance the risk associated with trying to hit on some of those explosive plays? Obviously, usually they're lower percentage throws. So is there a risk reward calculation that you have to make, or Josh has to make, in terms of trying to work those into a game for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of the big plays come off busted coverages, off broken tackles, off plays that you didn't even think were going to be big plays. I mean, if you call an off-tackle play and it goes for 50 yards, you don't think it's going to go for 50 yards. I think it might go for 6, maybe 8, if you block it well. But sometimes they miss a tackle, or your back makes a great run, or something happens and it turns into an explosive play. So when you call the play, you don't think you're going to gain 50 yards. Now, if you run some kind of, triple reverse pass, maybe you think you're going to gain 50 yards on that. I don't know. I wouldn't say there's a lot of those in this league. And if you throw a go route, then there's a chance for, a significant gain on something like that. Percentage of those passes aren't high, but if you hit one, there's a lot of yardage at stake. So, I don't know. There's a lot of big plays that I wouldn't say are designed to be big plays, but they could turn out that way. And there are the plays that designed to gain big chunks of yardage, and so probably the percentage of those is not high, but if you hit them, there's a bigger gain to be made.
You've been happy with Joe Junior's development this year? See you guys.
Joe's done a great job for us. He's one of our best players, one of the most consistent players. Yeah.
Take a jump this year.
Joe wasn't really able to do much this spring. I'd say it took him a little while to kind of get back to football levels of conditioning, strength, technique, and so forth. There's a lot of technique at the position he plays, every position, but certainly that one. But certainly by the middle of training camp or somewhere there, end of middle of late August, I thought he's played very consistently all year, as he has the last couple of years. So, a really solid guy for us. We've had all three of those guys inside. Dave missed a couple of games last year. Shaq missed a couple of games this year. But overall, that group's been pretty solid, pretty dependable, pretty reliable for us. So very fortunate that inside group is. And when Ted's filled in, which he has for Shaq this past couple of weeks, and then last year for David in Oakland or in Mexico against Oakland. He had a couple games in there where he filled in for David. He did a nice job too. So yeah, we've been pretty fortunate in that part of the offensive line.
Coach, thanks for
Okay. All right. Thank you.